Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. I woke this morning with an awful sense of ennui. And I thought to myself, how can this conceivably be the case? It's an extraordinarily beautiful September day. I'm going to cross the Potomac, and I'm going to be in the company of my mentors and my seniors and my teachers, my professors, Daniel Dennett, Richard Dawkins, Samuel Harris, and I'm also going to see again my new neighbor and my new best friend, and I say it with platonic platitude, my love. The three most beautiful words in the new secular dictionary, Ayan Hasiali. While I'm saying that, I should add that that it is considered by me, and I hope by all of you, a national disgrace that in the capital city of a secular democracy and republic, that our guest from Holland, the first, I think, political refugee from Western Europe since 1945, should have to go under armed guard about her business rather than be our most honored guest. And though it's not usual for me to be able to speak for the majority, I think I can say that, Ayan, there isn't anyone in this room who wouldn't very proudly stand between you and anyone who wished you harm. And then I suppose I might add that those feelings of human solidarity and empathy and decency do not require divine permission. Do not proceed from a divine spark. In fact, in bold contrast, those feelings of elementary human solidarity and dignity and decency, in fact, have to be asserted against the divine and those who believe that they monopolize it. So how's that for my intro? Okay. My plan, I have now used the word majority, which was the source I suddenly realized of my ennui. This is the first time this year I've been in a room full of people who agree with me. And a tremendous sense of boredom and futility overcame me at this idea. And I was actually thinking of holding it right there and saying, look, ladies and gentlemen, comrades, friends, brothers, sisters, my impression is, and I don't think I'm mistaken, that people like yourselves come to events like this not to listen, or not just to do so, but also to speak, to impart. And I can certainly say that in this room there are many people. I've mentioned them already. I should also add my friend Matthew Chapman. I think I've earned my keep, wouldn't you agree, by making sure that he came to this conference? I could see him bringing out the heterosexual in some of you as he spoke today. So that I had thought really of saying, look, I will not shirk my task. I will end up doing the bulk of the talking, but that we ought to turn it over, as it were, to yourselves. Then I thought that might be a slight cop-out. But I'm going to yield back the balance of my time very quickly. Nonetheless, after I thought I'd give you 2 or 3 things I think I've learned from the last year on campaign in our common struggle. And I'll just mention them quickly. I even wrote some of them down. The first thing I want to say is that every time I've debated with anyone, from some moon-faced Baptist to some smug rabbi or smarmy Catholic, it's always come up, and it's often been asked also by people who don't belong to those categories, well, how would you know that there could be goodness or virtue or morality without a supernatural dictatorship to enforce it? It's odd how people, when they're trying to be polite, are so insulting. when I was asked, when you say religion poisons everything, do you mean everything? As in, say, chess. Well, yes, in a way, because it attacks us in our deepest integrity. It says that we would be nothing, that we would have no principles, no humor, no irony, no decency, if we were not the property, the born property of a supernatural dictatorship and yearned for its rewards or feared its punishment. It attacks us in our core. And it does so in a related way that I think is also quite close to the core, don't know about you, by deforming our sexuality in the same manner, by saying that all of this too is a source of guilt and shame and fear. So yes, of course, it is poisonous, and we shouldn't grant the idea that even if metaphysically untrue, which it most certainly is, that religion is nonetheless the teacher of morals. It is, to the contrary, the source of misery, guilt, shame, unhappiness, and immorality. So given that you're all going to be having this argument either singly or in collective terms from now on, here's a suggestion I've made, and I've made it on a number of websites now, including some religious ones. I've made it in public, I've made it in print. Your antagonist has to be able to do the following thing. He has, or she has to name a moral action performed or a moral statement made by a believer that could not be made or performed by an unbeliever. I've been doing this for months now. It's been on the Christianity Today website. It's been on Sally Quinn's wonderful site that I hope you visit, On Faith, the Washington Post Newsweek pages, and many other places. And I've been doing it for months, I haven't yet had one reply, except the injunction to love your enemies, which I don't think is a moral one. Do I love the theocratic suicide murderers? No, I don't. I dislike them. I wish to encompass their defeat. They wish to be martyrs? Okay, I'm here to help. But it would be positively immoral to say that one loved them. It would be disgraceful, cowardly, and masochistic to say so. And there, in 3 words, you have the root of Christianity. And that's, I suppose, why no Christian leader took the occasion of the theocratic, barbaric assault on our civil society to say that now was the moment to declare our love for these fascistic goons. So, my challenge also has a corollary, and you can try this on an audience too. Please, can you think of an immoral statement made, or an immoral, wicked action performed by someone that could only have been religious? It's very strange. No one has any difficulty coming up with an answer right away to that. They can't answer the first, and they can't avoid the second. I won't say it's a QED, but I think that's very suggestive. I pass it on for what it may be worth. Second, Professor Dawkins, I meant to ask you this earlier. How long would you say Homo sapiens have been on the planet? Our species. I've read discrepant.
You want me to answer?
Yes, would you? I mean, I'd like your best idea of how many years our species has been on the crust.
Well, it would depend a little bit on how you defined it, but probably it would be measured in hundreds of thousands of years.
Yes, okay. I'm grateful because Carl Sagan once said he thought about 250,000, but he wasn't completely certain. I've read estimates that it's less, but let's say it's 100,000.
Well, it's 250,000.
Yeah, well, 250,000 is a lot. It's more than I need. That's the great thing about the professor. Great thing about Professor Dawkins, scrupulously objective, but very generous. Very well. Let's call it 100,000 years that Homo sapiens has been on the planet. I'm addressing the point about the non-overlapping magisteria. Whether is it really true that there's an incompatibility between science and religion, or can they rub along? Let's help with the assisted suicide of this fatuous proposition and show that there's a radical incompatibility. Let's assume that we've only been around for 100,000 years, in the course of which time people were born, most of them, a good number